Hi everyone, and welcome to your first video lesson for the Certified Sports Psychology Coach program. My name is Mark Tehan. I'll be narrating your journey with video lessons, and your adventure begins by learning a bit about the field of exercise and sports psychology in a general sense. And this means that we will first step back and learn our origins in order to understand how the field operates now. So let's start by looking at what exercise and sports psychology is. Exercise in sports psychology is a respected, acknowledged, and well-established academic discipline, and it's the scientific study of people and their behaviors in sport and exercise contexts, and the practical application of that knowledge. And sport and exercise psychologists identify principles and guidelines that professionals can use to help adults and children participate and benefit from sport and exercise activities. Sports psychology focuses more on the psychological and emotional processes that athletes and exercisers alike experience while pursuing both competitive sport and lifetime fitness activities. Therefore, you might see that these definitions suggest that there's a spectrum of sport and exercise psychology, and it covers a range from sport and exercise activities for children and adults at a somewhat recreational level to the most disciplined, professional, and competitive athletic level. It's also important to know the historical background of any academic discipline in order to understand its current goals, purposes, and endeavors. It can be difficult to determine when a scientific discipline is really born, and usually historians of science will choose a particular event or a significant one and consider it as the one in which the discipline under consideration was founded. Therefore, the first research article in the field of exercise and sports psychology is attributed to Norman Triplett from the University of Indiana. Triplett was an active psychiatrist and an enthusiastic bicycle racing fan in the 1890s who conducted an experimental investigation on the effects of cyclists' faster performance when they raced in pairs or groups than when compared to when they rode alone. The significance of Triplett's study became a milestone in sport and exercise psychology and social psychology as well. During Triplett's time, there were other psychologists as well who began researching and experimenting in the field of exercise and sports psychology, and the highlights of this period are presented in the slide before you. Coleman Griffith is sometimes referred to as the father of sports psychology, as Griffith had established the first athletic research laboratory to study subjects while they were engaged in various forms of athletic competition. After Griffith's era, there were a series of significant events and research studies with noteworthy contributions to sport and exercise psychology. Perspectives in sports psychology have tended to parallel those that are found in general psychology, and we can see distinct periods following the earliest work done by pioneers in this field. By the mid-1990s, topics such as social facilitation, achievement motivation, social reinforcement, arousal, and even motor performance were being investigated by sports psychologists. Today, the field of sports psychology has developed into a discipline that investigates various and numerous psychological aspects that impact sport and exercise participation. Some of the topics of investigation of note are confidence, body image, gender issues, anxiety and stress, goal setting, social facilitation, the impact of youth sport, the psychology of injury, burnout, and the addictive behaviors that are sometimes seen in sport and exercise settings. So the field of applications for sport and exercise psychology is extremely vast, and being a sport and exercise psychology professional allows you more to teach, research, and apply the psychological concepts that you might be learning right now to the complex and exhilarating field of exercise and sports psychology. Within the field of exercise and sports, coaches or trainers may decide to choose a specific approach or strategy to generate the highest performance possible in their individual or team. In a similar way, psychologists may decide to choose from a specific psychological orientation. Contemporary sport and exercise psychologists may choose from many different orientations in the field, with three of the most prevalent being psychophysiological, social psychological, and cognitive behavioral orientations. Psychophysiological orientation refers to the study of behavior during sport and exercise through the examination of physiological processes in the brain and their influences on the physical activity itself. Social psychological orientation refers to an assumption that behavior is determined by a complex interaction between the environment and the personal makeup of the athlete or exerciser. Cognitive behavioral orientation refers to the emphasis that's being put on the athlete or exercise's cognitions or thoughts and behaviors, believing thought to be central in determining behaviors. The field of exercise and sports psychology is still gaining traction and popularity because of the exciting stage of development that it's currently in. Journals, professional societies, graduate programs, and professional avenues related to academics in sports psychology have become prolific around the globe. However, we see four major challenges in sports psychology as researchers move forward, and these four challenges are balancing specialization with integrative knowledge, knowledge expansion, keeping up with statistics and research methodologies, and external funding. But, on the other hand, exercise and sports psychology has a really strong and bright future, not only as an academic source, but also for those who participate in exercise or sports. As more and more individuals become interested in their well-being, living fit, and longer lives, the ramifications and opportunities offered by exercise and sports psychology will become even greater. But concerns of ethics, competence, and even specializations are currently a challenge for our field, and despite progress on all fronts, there is still a significant divide between practitioners and academics and other conventional psychologists. What follows provides a perspective of what future trends might be. This increase in the academic pursuits of sports psychology researchers and practitioners has led to the need for professional organizations to support continuing education in the exercise psychology discipline. Appendix B for this lesson contains a complete list of existing American and international exercise science professional associations. It's also important to note that this list contains the names of all existing sport and exercise-related associations or organizations, and not just those that are related to exercise or sports psychology. The field of exercise and sports psychology has undoubtedly developed and progressed in major ways since its origins or roots. The significant and rapid development that exercise and sports psychology has experienced, particularly from the 1950s to present day, has transcended expectations from scientists and experts alike inside and outside of the field. This situation has contributed to the establishment of a more solid, respectful, and positive foundation and structure for students or coaches for years to come. In our current times, more and more individuals are interested in living better, longer, and fitter lives. In addition, the continuous development on up through the implementation of sports and exercises or the programs for participants of all ages, including seniors, will create more opportunities for experts in our field of exercise and sports psychology to be able to assist, educate, train, monitor, coach, and conduct additional research in our field. It's important to be aware of all of the past contributions and future advancements that the science will bring to future generations.